think about Mataji, and some of us are new to this. Mataji is a monastic member of Sri Sarada Mutt, a monastic order within the Sri Ramakrishna order, and is known for her expertise in Yoga Vedanta philosophy. She is also the editor of the English journal SAMVIT and has served as the principal of Nivedita Mandir school. Mataji is recognized for her extensive study of texts like Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita, as well as her teachings of Yoga Vedanta at IIT Delhi. Mataji was born in Mysore, Karnataka, and she was always involved right from her very end age with Ramakrishna mission. I will give a little bit of background and activities. She is a monastic member of Sri Sarada Mutt, a lineage stemming from Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Sarada Devi, and Swami Vivekananda. She has served as the principal of Nivedita Mandir school and is actively involved in the publication of Sri Sarada Mutt. Mataji is a very renowned scholar and teacher of Yoga Vedanta, having studied and lectured on various texts and philosophical systems. She has lectured extensively on the Yoga Vedanta and the intersection of science and spirituality in various countries, including South Africa, the United Kingdom, the UAE, and North America. She conducts Yoga Vedanta courses at IIT Delhi, which are available on their official channel, NRCDEE IIT Delhi. She got the initiation Swami Ramanathananji and received the sannyasa in 2007. I request Mataji to speak. She is going to speak, and then anyone having questions will be a follow-up. Mataji.
Om Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tam Hadevam Atma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshur Vai Sharanamaham Prapadye. My namaskars to all of you. We are going to discuss about Bhagwan and his method here today. Whatever little we can, whatever little we know, because for those of us who are following this path, the Jnana Marg, you see, Bhagwan is the illuminator of this path. He is the one who will give us the greatest clues in our search for the self. He is the one who will give the pointers, the inspiration, the energy, the grace. So we will just discuss this great life and what it means to this modern age. And then, of course, we will open the forum for questions. Bhagwan used to say, Arunachala is the place where prana is subsumed into the heart. This sentence has deep, deep meaning. When you ask a question like, who am I? You can analyze and go deep to a certain extent, after which the mind does not reveal anything more. You may come to a level of blankness, or some people even fall asleep. Why does this happen? How to actually penetrate into what Bhagwan is saying? Just the question, who am I? How will it take us into that light? And how does the I thought, the ego, dissolve completely at its source when we ask a pointed question like, who am I? This is what we will try to explore, because this is of prime significance to sadhaks. How exactly this path works. See, when Bhagwan says, Arunachala is the place where prana is subsumed into the heart. Subsumed means absorbed. Now, pran means our entire vital force or energy. It manifests as mind. And the subtle manifestation is mind. That includes your thought, emotion, everything happening in the mind. And its physical manifestation is the breath. So when this entire pranic energy, it gets subsumed in the heart, then the self is revealed. Which means the mind must learn to stay in the heart. In fact, that is the home of the mind. But many times just watch your mind and see it's just running somewhere. The most chanchal thing in the world, restless, is our minds. So then with this kind of a mind, how can we take up this kind of a path? That's why then you see when you inquire, who am I? The mind is already jumping. You come to a kind of blankness, and after that you can't move ahead. You can't go further. That is why the primary requirement for the Jnana Marg is the Sadhan Chatushtay. You must have heard of it. Vivek, Vairagya, Shatsampati, Mumukshutvam. When you make an inquiry, the mind must stand at that point. The I sense within me. I should be able to catch it completely. And the mind should not jump here and there during the process. This is the primary requirement for Jnana Marg. I won't go into Sadhan Chatushtay because I think most of you already know it. These are the fundamentals of Vedanta, especially the path of Advait. If I have to know who am I, the mind must stand on that I sense within me for a long period of time. Then only it will penetrate deeply into what the I denotes, the import of the I sense. If that does not happen, we will not be able to catch this, what Bhagwan is saying. This path is very appealing because at once we feel, yes, of course it is about self-knowledge. What can be more interesting? It's about the self. But when you actually make the inquiry, we will face this. And that is why the most important thing in this marga is to keep mind in the heart. Through this chanting of these hymns, devotion to Bhagwan, devotion to Arunachala, devotion to the path of inquiry, you can capture the mind in the heart. This is the most important sadhana, preliminary sadhana required to make this inquiry successful. And that is why if you see the life of Bhagwan himself, you see the simulation of death, the death experience actually produced the light of greatest illumination in Bhagwan's life, isn't it? Just the body and the mind. He lay down flat. You know about that experience very well, I'm sure. And he just thought of the moment of death. When vitality is completely being withdrawn from the... He actually felt the rigor mortis also. Vitality is being withdrawn from the body. And the mind is no longer functioning. Still the force of I, he could feel it with tremendous power within him. The sense of I throbbing, the aham sphuran, it never leaves us actually. Aham sphuran is our real nature, the throb of I within us. But it gets covered up, laid up with a whole lot of mental concepts, ideas, thoughts. So that's why we are not able to see the pure light of awareness ever shining in our hearts. Bhagwan's words are the pointer to that state of our true being. This is Ganga from Gomukh. Bhagwan, his words, he hardly spoke, but whatever has been recorded of his talks, you have their talks with Ramana Maharishi. I kept that book with me right from childhood. And even today it is there with me. You can never read that book, Every day you need to dive into that pure Ganga from Gomukh because he is giving us the source of your very thought process, the source of the I sense within us. And that source is the Gomukh glacier. It is the self. It is the luminosity of our being. This light is not this kind of light. This is the light of awareness. It is pure consciousness. That is the essence of our being. And everything proceeds from there. So unless mind is turned towards heart, we will not catch this in first person experience. We may have all kinds of third person, experiences and ideas and whatever, formulations. But to actually catch this and enter that deep inner silence, the recesses of the heart, what Bhagwan used to call heart, that is the way of this method. The aham sphuran is ever there within us, but the mind fails. You see, it's so busy with thoughts that we fail to see it. Bhagwan used to say, after that experience, Bhagwan lived perpetually the state of self-knowledge, radiating that knowledge. How beautifully it is described in his life. Before he got this experience, self-knowledge, you can never say these people did not have self-knowledge because they are born with that sanskar. But when it came into full manifestation with that death experience, before that, when Bhagwan used to go to Meenakshi Amman's temple in Madurai, he would go like a playful boy. And he would not even do any worship, just stand and bow down before mother, maybe do a pradakshina and do what other boys would do. But after this experience, when he would stand before mother, that is something for us to see. And what would happen? Tears would roll down his eyes. And he himself has described it. This is because the soul had lost its hold on the body-mind complex. And that is why the outpouring of that soul in tears to the divine, because now he was in touch with the consciousness of the divine. This was Bhagwan, ever in touch with divine consciousness. The whole life, I really don't know what to talk about him, because the whole life is steeped in God. It's a life which never moved out of that. This is not easy. This is not humanly possible. You can get a glimpse of it. You can get a very deep understanding of it. But to remain in it, this is possible only for Arunachal Shiva. That is why he is Bhagwan. I'll tell you a few more things about this. See, when Bhagwan used to talk of the self, whenever he has talked of the self, he would always say words are secondary. In fact, words are tertiary. They are the grandsons of that state. Great-grandchildren of the state of perfect silence. Only in silence this teaching can be given. For the simple reason, it is consciousness. It is not about mind. Try to see the difference. Mind is nothing but a bundle of thoughts. We are trying to give a context to our thought process and calling that context mind. But is there a mind? But our awareness ever is. Awareness is never absent. Check this out and see, if your mind is saying, no, there are states when I am unaware, that is the finite mind's interpretation. Yes, because even to know you are unconscious, you require consciousness. Awareness, consciousness alone is. Mind activity happens in that consciousness. That is why when we ask a question like, who am I? You will just go beyond mind. And if we have the necessary preparation in terms of sadhan chatushtay, it will usher you into a state like this. And in Bhagwan's case, he has lived throughout his life in that, you can say, the infinite light of pure consciousness, Brahman, Atman, whatever you call it. Bhagwan even didn't know those words. Later on he says that I didn't know the words Atman and Brahman. Much later, when they were reading the Upanishads in front of me, I would understand that they are describing my own inner experience. See, this is the state of the jnani. As Thakur used to say, the experience happens first for them. The formulation happens later. And in our case, it's all about formulation and Shravan and Manan and Nididhyasan and whatnot. So the whole point is, if you study Bhagwan, I'm telling you, it is Ganga Snan from Gomukh. There's no need of going to Gomukh. you study these great lives and dip into their consciousness, it is equivalent to the highest pilgrimage you can make. Let me also put a few more, a little more maybe discussion on the state of Bhagwan. See, I'll tell you a wonderful incident in his life, which actually happened much later in his life, but it is a pointer to where this consciousness lived. Towards the end of his life, Bhagwan had cancer. There was a tumor on his arm, and he was completely oblivious of it. There was no registration of any form of suffering in that body and mind. He even had an operation done without anesthesia. But the tumor reappeared. And everyone was very worried. The doctors were extremely worried. And they did not know how to now cure this. So they thought of one thing. If Bhagwan applies his mind to his body, it will be cured. Because that is such a powerful mind, radiating the highest consciousness. So at that point of time, Alamelu Amma had come to Tiruvannamalai. She was his sister, Bhagwan's sister, younger sister. She had come, so these devotees joined together and told her, please go and tell Bhagwan to put his mind on his body, on that tumor. And if he just does that much, it will be cured, it will be healed. Now she went before Bhagwan, and Bhagwan was absorbed in the self, and he said, Yanna, what do you want? She said, Bhagwan, just in your presence, everybody is getting healed. Just in your presence, even mental sickness is getting healed, and physical sickness also. Why don't you apply your mind to your body? Apply it to that tumor, and then it will be cured. Please, Bhagwan, for our sake, you should do this. She appealed to Bhagwan. And Bhagwan looked seriously at her and said, see, for me to do what you are saying, I must first imagine I have a body. And then I have a hand, and there is tumor in that hand, which is painful. And to imagine all these things, I need a mind, which I don't have. So how am I going to do what you are asking me to do? Poitwa. This was Bhagwan. It shows the state of the Jnani. Please see. Mind also is not there. Where shall I apply mind, he is saying. Recognition of body also is not there. See, when self-knowledge comes, consciousness comes into predominance. There is no other kind of silly mind activity there at all. And that is why their state is something we cannot imagine actually. When consciousness has come into full bloom, you read the Upanishads, this is what they will tell you. You are essentially that consciousness. You have imagined you are a body and mind. But when that consciousness will come into full bloom, body consciousness and mind consciousness will fully drop. Mind will just move aside. And then there is the full effulgence of the self, which you will see in these lives. There is a similar incident in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Only it is put in the language of devotion. I can tell you that incident also here. Sri Ramakrishna also during his last days had a very nasty form of cancer, throat cancer. And the devotees were very worried how to get rid of that. So they also, especially one devotee called Shashadhar Pandit, he came to Sri Ramakrishna and said, Thakur, please put your mind on your body, on the throat, and then it will go. Please do this, for our sake you should do it. For our sake you should do it. And Thakur said, Sri Ramakrishna, we call him Thakur in Bengali, he said, how can that mind which I have given at the lotus feet of the Divine Mother, how do I pull it into this cage of bones and flesh? I cannot do it. Then, Naren entered the room and again held Thakur's feet and said, you have to do it for our sake. Apply your mind to your body, this cancer will go. And then Sri Ramakrishna said, okay, let me tell mother. Let me tell mother. And then they both went out of the room and Sri Ramakrishna prayed to the Divine Mother. After some time they came back. And they came back and Naren asked, Thakur, did you tell the Divine Mother? And look at these words of Sri Ramakrishna. He said, I told her, Mother, see that I am able to eat a little, this throat is aching so much. And the mother told me, why? You are eating through so many beings, so many people. See, the same Brahma Jnana in the language of devotion. Their consciousness is not individualized, localized consciousness. It is the light shining in all our hearts. That's why they feel so dear to us. This is, you see, the secret of love. Somebody feels very dear to you only when it's a soul-to-soul experience, love, isn't it? It's not a persona-to-persona experience. Persona will always clash after some time. But a soul-to-soul experience will never end, It is an endless experience of the deepest love. So that is why these personalities, we may call them, any word you use is wrong. They manifest as the self in all beings. They are our innermost core. How will we not love them? They are our very essence. Let me tell you a few more things I thought of in Bhagwan's life. See, Bhagwan used to harmonize all the paths. Similar to Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, he would say bhakti, that transigent love which brings about the full fruition, or you can say effulgence of the self, that is bhakti. And bhakti is Jnana Mata, he used to say, the mother of Jnana. Because only when you have total dedication to knowing the truth of the I, then only it will manifest as the self completely. Until then, the mind will remain busy with other things. So Bhagwan has actually speaking solidified even the bhakti marg by giving us this idea about bhakti, that real bhakti means the oneness you feel with the essence of your very being. That is bhakti. It is similar to Shankaracharya's definition of bhakti. He would say the same thing. And even the Yog Marg, Bhagwan was very clear that this is a kind of mystic communion with our own being. It appears mystical. It is the most natural, obvious thing that can be. We may use any rational process to try to understand Vedanta, but Vedanta actually comes into experience in silence. And when the mind has entered and remained in the heart, that is the actual way. So it is a mystic communion, you can say. Bhagwan, after his experience of self-realization, for the longest part of his life, he was absolutely absorbed in the self. Self-enquiry should lead to self-knowledge, which should result in self-abidance. This is the Yog Marg actually, where you don't budge from the reality of your being. So provided we have the sanskars of Vedanta well set, the foundation stones, if they are well set, this is an experience that is possible. That's why in Bhagwan's life you see not the slightest budging from the highest state. Any question you put to him, he will draw your attention back to the self. Who is the questioner? He never tried to solve the problems of our stupid egos, He only dissolved the ego. In their presence, the ego dissolves. Mind dissolves. Speech dissolves. And this is the solution to the greatest solution to the problems of life, actually speaking. Because, please see this clearly. In spaces like this, you should see this. All our problems are mind-made. Am I right? Let us stop blaming the world or anything outside of us. They are made by our minds. Because we gave so much importance to some little thing, it overpowered us, and now it's a huge problem in our lives. Our attachments, our fears, our anger, our desires, these are lashing up waves in the mind, and the mind keeps us busy. Unless the mind is put down, there is no way to self-knowledge. Bhagwan used to say this, either inquire deeply into who am I and dissolve into the source, or surrender the mind to God. He would say this, that give me the mind, and the exact sentence is submit the mind and you will get self-knowledge. I will root out the ego. Submit the mind. So these are the two main paths for all sadhaks. Either jnana, that capacity should be there to remain at the source of the I sense within us. See, please distinguish between these two. The I thought that we feel is not the I throb. I may have a sense of myself as a personality and all that, the I thought. That is to be discarded, removed, in the sense that actually does not define our being. It's the external crust of our being. It's a personality sense. But the I throb, the sense of pure I. And Bhagwan used to say that itself is the Kundalini. This I current within us, the I throb, aham sphuran, what is called. That is the real essence of our being. That can be easily caught in a very quiet mind, imbued with great sattva. It can be easily caught. So that is the actual key to understanding what Bhagwan is saying. If aham sphuran has happened, then you will get a clear picture of the Upanishadic path. See, Bhagwan actually has strengthened the Upanishadic path enormously, tremendously, the Jnana Marg. All yogis and jnanis fall under Jnana Marg, Pradhan. See, everybody uses bhakti and yoga and everything, but there will be a Pradhan Marg, which means one dominant attitude. So all Jnana Margis, for them, Bhagwan is the ultimate source of inspiration, for the simple reason, this mind never budged from reality. Only Arunachal Shiva can do this. I'm telling you. See the state of your mind and you will understand what a tremendous example Bhagwan is. It's humanly impossible, it may appear like that, because a human being itself means one who is manifesting through a body-mind complex, the Jiva-Atman. But here you will find the light of the Paramatman coming out from this body-mind complex. And Bhagwan was totally, that's why, bereft of body consciousness. See, one who doesn't even have a mind, how can you expect him to be attached to a body? And the whole life showed this. Whole life showed this. Anything coming before Bhagwan, his tendency was always to turn our attention back to the self. And the Shaktipat, I put down a few incidents here about Shaktipat is a huge concept in Kashmiri Shaivism, even in Vedanta, which means the actual transmission of energy from the guru to the disciple. They are capable of producing spiritual experience right in their presence because it's a totally liberated mind, elevated mind. And how did Bhagwan do this? Muruganar, the famous poet, he says that Bhagwan did not even give me time to wink my eyes. It was all over in a moment. I just sat in front of him and I experienced the stillness of the self. And how many people have given such reminiscences that they saw God radiating terrifically from this form. For the simple reason, he remained in the state of pure being. Always. So Shaktipat happened naturally. That is why, you see, Muruganar wrote that Bhagwan's silence, this powerful silence of Bhagwan, is the greatest preface that can be to any of the scriptures of the world. See, all the scriptures of the world are only pointing to this, ultimately. When we say Brahma Jnana in the Upanishads, we are only pointing to the state of pure being, which is called Brahman in the Upanishads. And that is the goal, because that is the essence of our own being. So a person who will radiate that level of knowledge obviously will become the dearest to all of us. This was Bhagwan's life. Let me tell you some more incidents here. Somebody once asked Bhagwan, is realization instantaneous or is it gradual? And Bhagwan said that, realization is always instantaneous because it is an insight into reality which is already present. But it requires introversion of mind, which is very gradual. Knowing how our minds are, Bhagwan gave answers accordingly. You see, introversion of mind, placing mind in the heart so that it is subsumed in the heart is a big effort. Requires lifetimes of sadhana and tapasya. Don't think Vedanta is so easy. Although it is our most obvious and it is our nature, still it is not easy to remain in that state for like this entire lifetime. So Bhagwan used to say this, that you can know the truth only if the mind is utterly so clear that it moves aside. You see, please see this. The greatest intuitions of your life have come when the overworking, functioning mind with all its cognitive distortions has stopped. Have you seen this? The greatest insights of your life have come only when there's total clarity of mind. The normal mind has sort of moved aside. So this was the state of Bhagwan. That is why whatever has come out from his lips is really coming out from the source. And then let me tell you a few more incidents. See, there were people who would ask, who were from the Yoga Marg, and they would ask about Kundalini. And Bhagwan used to say that if you feel the I current within you, that itself is the Kundalini. Everything else is imagination. Please see that I have chakras and I have a channel Sushumna running through the Pranamaya Kosh, and it's all the making up of the mind. But what you feel in your heart as the I throb, as the I sense, that itself shows that pranic energy has been lifted here. So it is a big revelation for the Yoga Marg also. Whatever the words of Bhagwan are huge revelations on all these margas. And that is why whoever has been touched by Bhagwan, and that includes all of you, we're truly blessed. At some point or the other in our lives, we will understand this, that this is the heart of the whole thing. A mind which has even felt the touch of pure consciousness, that mind becomes a deeply conscious mind, a completely mature mind, a mind which is able to see everything in proportion. It is able to see, place things, give things the value they deserve, and it is able to get across this transmigratory existence in a fabulous way. It will be a really mature, joyful life, and a life that has not been touched by Brahman, pure consciousness. You may have 1,000 objects around you, but it's a miserable life. Because the existential crisis will persist. However much you satisfy your psychological desires, the existential crisis will persist. So, putting it all together, I would only say that tasting the bliss of self, that is the goal of every human life. And if that has to become possible in our own lives, it is very, very important to come into this kind of an influence. It's very magical that New York City has this kind of a powerful empty space within it, which is so calm and quiet all the time. So utilize the space, dive deep into the literature available here, and I can assure you of this, the mind will go to another level. The mind will understand its limitations. Please understand this, and this is from the Amrita Bindu Upanishad. It says, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. The mind alone is the cause for a man's bondage and liberation. Because the self ever is. Even right now, you are only the self. Even when the mind is functioning, we are only the self. When the mind is not functioning, you are only the self. But mind creates obstacles. The tendencies of our mind, if you check it out and see, they can create obstacles to self-knowledge. So then putting down mind becomes important. And if we have the maturity, then you can even, through the mind, you can do it. That also can be done. Even when the mind is functioning, you can remain as a witness to the happenings of the mind. But the real witness, the sakshi, not the reflected awareness. These are all very clear words. I have not gone into any technical aspects of Vedanta for the simple reason, when I come before Bhagwan, mind collapses, I'm telling you. So I can't go into all those intricate technicalities. Here, you see, there are no polemics, no rhetoric is required. Because he's in that state all the time. And he's around us. You feel that power. So then the technicalities of Vedanta, the Sakshi or the Pramata or the Chidabhas, we don't have to go into all that at all. Just see clearly that your consciousness, It's not even your consciousness. You, the consciousness, is ever-present reality of your being. And the mind-body complex, they are completely acquired. It's acquired taste. It's something you posit or superimpose upon yourself. And then we give a big, you can say a big idea about our persona, which doesn't exist. Somebody asked Bhagwan how to control mind. Bhagwan said, when you realize the self, there is no mind to control. Just realize the self, just see reality as it is. Even if the mind is doing all its monkey business, still we can peer at very, profound moments. You can peer and see that the very nature of my being is awareness. And all the confusion of the mind is only created because I didn't train it enough. If there is sadhana, enough training, the mind will merge into the self. Because it has no real astitva. What we are calling mind is a phantom. And the one who sees this is the self. So only turn your attention back to the self. This was Bhagwan's method. This is the purest Jnana Marg, the way of the Upanishads. And if something of this we bring into our lives, all the clutter of our mind and the tendency of the mind to go around objects constantly, keep busy somewhere, will come to a halt. And the radiance of the self will come to the forefront. This is the path of Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi. We can't talk much about this. You should know this. It is completely experiential. Upanishads are like that. They are the outpourings of rishis in this state, the state of pure being. So you actually cannot talk or formulate or discuss too much about it. Anything you say will fall short of what it is. All we can do is take these things as clues, take Bhagwan's words as the greatest pointers, study their lives, dive deep into yourself. Take up a process of meditation and keep to this kind of satsang, holy company, and dive deep within yourself. This is all I would want to share about Bhagwan today, and I'll open the forum for questions. I think questions are more important than one-way traffic. Yes.
In one's life as well as in Thakur's life, as well as in other people's life, there are always a few people who kind of are their so-called enemies, who kind of want to harm them or want to spread rumors which are
Yeah.
So someone who is in Brahma and is Brahma, and the so-called, I would say, like not a good person, who is also Brahman. What is their role?
So do you know how Sri Ramakrishna or Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi, how they dealt with toxic people? Oh yeah, you must read those incidents. That is why I told you, keep close to this literature. And you will get tremendous insights on how to actually live our life. There was one, since you asked about Sri Ramakrishna, I'll tell you this incident. There was one character in that Dakshineshwar Kali temple who was extremely jealous of Sri Ramakrishna. Because you see, the founders of those temples, the Dakshineshwar Kali temple, were very much for Sri Ramakrishna. He was a young priest there. And everybody knew he was illuminated, he was living in God consciousness. So they always supported him. So this priest, he was not a priest, he was actually just a worker there. He grew jealous of Sri Ramakrishna. And one day it so happened, when Sri Ramakrishna was in a state of bhav samadhi, this man had the audacity to lift his foot on Sri Ramakrishna. He kicked him. And then it so happened that Sri Ramakrishna was totally unconscious of what was happening. And later on, when this was discovered, Sri Ramakrishna actually protected him. He said that no, this person, whatever he did, it was in a state of ignorance. Sri Ramakrishna never let it out to anybody actually. But the incident is on record. But later on, this man suffered so terribly, it was like a curse to his entire family. Everybody born in that family is limp. Yes. This is the effect of insulting a holy person, a person who is in the state of higher consciousness. Same thing with Bhagwan. You see, whatever the toxicity around him, and there were all kinds of characters who tried to create trouble for Bhagwan when he was on the mountain hill. And they gradually realized that he cannot be harmed. See, if you have a spiritual aura around you, I'm telling you, no negativity can approach you. We must make ourselves strong in that way. The mind can be made strong. Spiritually strong. When it comes close to the self, you become spiritually strong. Now, nothing can affect you, although you will find all kinds of people everywhere. That will be there. Still, you have strengthened yourself so much, the virus cannot harm you. Your immunity is so high. So this is a possibility. See how you can manufacture this strength in your own life. My own Guru, Ranganathanji Maharaj, used to always insist on strength. He would say, knowledge should bring strength, physical, mental, spiritual. Yog Bal it is called. So this will protect you from all harm. Know this for certain. That is why in their presence, nothing negative happens. Keep this great sacred influence in your lives and nothing harmful will happen. Nahi kalyanakrit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. Bhagavad Gita says, the doer of good, one who has good intent, a good bhav, never comes to grief.
So you mentioned, referring to Bhagavan, that when you realize the self, there is no mind.
Yes.
But for all transactional duties that we perform, we make use of mind.
Yes.
And when that element of ego gets mixed
Yes.
with the way we conduct ourselves,
Yes.
it is very difficult. So what from Bhagavan or from your experience?
See, the transactional mind which we are using just now, with sadhana, it gets transformed. I can tell you that. It's not the same mind. But does that mean that after realization you can no more use mind? That is also not true. You can definitely use mind, but now it has a different capacity and a different power altogether. That mind in which consciousness has come into predominance and thought world has receded, that mind has huge mind control is possible there. It has control over itself. So then whatever you will apply that mind to, you will be successful. This is the real yogic mind. It has developed such a level of concentration, focus and clarity because of the predominance of consciousness over just feeble thoughts, that it becomes a very powerful mind. Now that kind of mind used in this transactional world will produce immediate results. So you will be successful in whatever you do. Why do they say that the blessings of God bring all success and all the highest fruits of life? Only for this reason, that your mind will change completely. The stupid ways of the mind, see this uncontrolled thought flow and all these cognitive distortions and all these emotional fantasies and intellectual obsessions, all this will go. And clarity will reign, high awareness will reign. So whatever you focus on will become yours. The mind of the realized can be used in the transactional world. In fact, how did Bhagwan live? He lived with the illumined mind. So it is possible, but a lot of training is required for the mind to merge into its source. Please know this. Otherwise, you will get glimpses from time to time, and then you are always yearning for a continuity regarding them. This is what happens to many sadhaks. Very good question. Yes. There's a beautiful book written by Gita Di, who's sitting right here. And it's on Bhagwan's mother. So you should read that book, is available here. You should read that book. His relationship with his mother was so profound. See, they are not ordinary mothers also, okay? So, although he appeared to be very detached, you should see it towards the end. It's all so touching that Mother Alagamal, when she was with Bhagwan, actually Bhagwan facilitated her liberation at the end. Two people Bhagwan did this. One was Palni Swami, one was his own mother. And Bhagwan's touch used to be so sensitive. At the point of death, when the pranic energy is leaving the body, In the case of Palani Swami, Bhagwan kept his touch on his heart, but he removed the touch when he was convinced that the prana had arrived at the heart, concentrated there. But because he removed his hand, Palani Swami's eyes opened and the prana escaped through the eye. But in case of his mother, Bhagwan never removed his hand. With one hand he held her head, and in one hand he placed it on her chest. When the pranic energy had completely got absorbed in the heart, then only he removed his hand, and his mother attained the highest liberation. So what this is now, only spiritual practice will convince. We don't even feel the prana in our system. So it's just a word for us. Only sadhana will tell you what it is. Prana alone manifests as mind, thought, speech, word, everything. And if this pranic energy is collected together and focused on the heart and absorbed there through this process of inquiry, then only realization occurs. What this means, you find out for yourself. You can't talk more than this actually. Yes, speech can be silver, silence is golden. I think no more questions.
If I may add one.
Yes.
So, meditation, importance of meditation, we hear from everyone, and if there is any simple way to get to the state, and there's sometimes the meditation happens. So how do we make ourselves eligible for meditation to happen to us?
Whether it is Yog Marg or Jnana Marg or Bhakti Marg, see, everything has pre-qualifications. The pre-qualification for meditation to happen, the state of Dhyan, is that Yam and Niyam. Those are the first two steps of the Yog Marg. Once you are well established in that, your prana is in your hands. See, this is what happens with all preliminary spiritual practices. Your entire vital force is moving in one flow. It is luminous, it is effulgent, and it is moving in a particular way. Now you concentrate it on the heart. Take a Sakar Sagun Upasana if that helps you. Or Nirakar Nirguna, question can lead you into it. But take whatever appeals to you. If the prana is in the heart, meditation will happen. Only when the pranic energy is all scattered all over and you can't collect it in any way, meditation is a real trial and error. But if you are able to gather all your energy and concentrate on the heart center, meditation should happen. Meditation is the only way. In fact, what Bhagwan is calling self-inquiry, it is more than meditation. Only when, the meditative habit, meditative awareness has become strong, then only you can pursue an inquiry like this to its successful fruition. Because the mind will not deviate then from that search. Otherwise, it will keep on, our monkey mind, I don't have to introduce it to you, isn't it? It will keep on doing that, its normal ways. And then the inquiry will not work. So take charge of your mind. That is the preliminary thing in spiritual life. That is why then you have to do puja, parayana, all these practices, everything, satsang. Apply bhakti, apply jnana, apply everything. You will finally come to a point when your mind is really in your hands. Then you use inquiry, it's the ultimate thing. Bhagwan used to say, you know how powerful inquiry is? When you are well prepared, he used to say, see, you use a log to set fire to a pyre, isn't it? And the pyre consumes the log. Bhagwan used to say, inquiry is like that. You use just an inquiry to light the fire of self-knowledge. And finally, that the fire of that will consume even the inquiry. Mind gets consumed through self-knowledge. But the necessary preparation should be there, otherwise it will not happen.
So, this is a kind of a paradoxical question. But when we think about spirituality and Advaita, we think in a different sections of life. For example, if I'm here, I want to fully immerse myself into Advaita. But as soon as I go to work, I wear a different hat. or if I am doing some other duty in a materialistic world, I wear a different hat. So my question is, how can I remove those boundaries between these different hats in the material world and continuously practice Advaita and try?
The meditative awareness has to be maintained. See, if it is generated in your periods of silence and meditation, the higher awareness, it will continue even in your workplace, wherever you are, at home. Whatever identity you may wear, at the heart of the whole thing, you are only the self. Isn't it? Are you ever separate from your consciousness? Tell me. In your workplace, maybe you are a boss of so many employees. At your home, somebody else is the boss. But yourself, the consciousness that you are, is always the same. Personas keep changing. You don a different personality in different context, a different identity, but the self remains the same. In meditation, if that self has come into full blossom in your mind, meditative awareness that is called, then that awareness persists through all of the entire day. It will be there with you. Then you can handle every situation very well. Otherwise, you are a different being in a different place always. Meditative awareness, see what it is. It's a huge thing. In Upanishads, they are always talking of this. This has to be generated. Prajna, it is called. If there is prajna, you don't have to, have a different persona every time. There's a continuity about you now. Because the mind, clear mind, has perfectly reflected the inner light. Now that stays with you. In fact, that is the only continuity about you. Is your mind ever continuous? Tell me. All these cognitive sciences and neuroscience people, they are always saying mind is continuous. Mind is never continuous. A neuroscientist will say brain is the continuous. Yes.
What is an indication that you reach your meditative state?
By the deep calmness and peace and integrity you feel within yourself. It's unmistakable experience of the deepest peace possible. This Furan which I said, that is nothing but that meditative awareness. Have you heard of the word Sfuran? Bhagwan used to use the word Aham Sfuran. The I throb, pure sense of I within you. Not the assumed, concocted I, the real I. When that reflects in your meditation, it generates the meditative awareness. The proof of that is deep inner peace and joy, bliss. You have now an impersonal sense of yourself. That goes with you always. Because you are actually that. Isn't it? See, check this out and see, body has changed so much since we were infants. Infant, child, toddler, teenager, young person, and now whatever we are. Body changed so much, mind changed so much, but your I am sense, has it changed? You only were that child, you were that toddler, you were that same I sense is persisting. See, this is one of the great clues in Upanishads, in Panchadashi. How the I am sense does not change. I know I was that child, I was that teenager. There is a continuum running through life's experience, and that is awareness, not body or mind. So shouldn't you invest in what is continuous rather than what is only fleeting and temporary? The really intelligent, they invest time and energy in that which is permanent, that which even outlasts the body and mind. It was grace. I had very strong yogic sanskars from childhood. You won't believe the things I did. So, see, everything in life is predetermined, if you actually see. You are making a choice maybe at a certain point in your life that I want to become a monk, but it is due to so many factors you have built up over time, even through lifetimes. You must explore this question. Is free will the truth, or is everything predetermined? Determinism is the truth. Explore it and see. Bhagwan used to throw great light on this. He used to say, in fact in his letter only it is there, that everything is predetermined. We have worked on these things for a long time and then only it becomes fully manifest in one life. But the thing is this, if you want things to go your way and you want your decisions should work, then you must observe deeply and see what a choice means. Am I led towards a choice or is a choice instantaneous? What exactly is happening at that moment? For everything you need the meditative awareness. I'm telling you, if you want to deepen life, you must do meditation. Otherwise, somebody's philosophy will become yours. If you want to discover these things for yourself, build your inner life, the meditative habit. This mind has the capacity to understand all the secrets of the universe. If only you pin it down and connect it with awareness, not otherwise. It is all predetermined. I had to come in this form and in this garb, because at the heart of it all, we are only the self, okay? This is just like vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya. Body also is like that. But whatever it is, each one of us has a role to play. We are also playing a role. But at the heart of everything is only the self. One who manifests the self in its highest form, he becomes the most dear to all people. You should know this. We are very fortunate that, you see, we have come into this circle. When you have this kind of an example, inspiration before you, your life will be tinged by it. You can be sure of it. Everywhere that I teach, see, I work at IIT Delhi actually, and many other IITs. Everywhere, invariably, Bhagwan's, and of course, Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, their words only come out of my mouth. The whole thing is if you dip your mind into this stream, I'm telling you, the mind will come out luminous and bright. It will give you the exact truth about all these things. You will do your science also much better. Whatever you do will bear this touch. But if this dip is not taken, that's the importance of Ganga Snan. Ganga Snan at Gomukh.
I love that simile very much. I've never heard that. I think you capture the essence of it. And if I can add to what that conversation you just mentioned about Sri Bhagwan, that people were asking him whether everything is predestined or what.
Yes.
Everything is predetermined. And Chandra was sitting right next to Sri Bhagwan.
Yes.
And was fanning Bhagwan. He picks up the fan and he says, Bhagwan, even this, am I fanning you? And Bhagwan says, yes, even that. So that is then followed by a question that if everything is then predetermined, you mean to say we have no freedom. And Bhagwan's answer is the key. He says, the only freedom you have is to associate with what happens or not to associate.
Yes. You can either attach to it or detach from it. That freedom you have. See, I don't know if you all have heard of Benjamin Libet's experiments on free will. Anybody has heard? No. You can study it. It's on the net. He conducted these experiments in trying to find out from where choice arises. And are we led towards a particular kind of choice or is it instantaneous? Any of our decisions. So what he actually did was he connected a subject to an EEG machine to track the brain activity at the moment of making a choice. And the subject was given like two switches, one blue, one red. He had to decide to press one switch and immediately do it. And the brain activity was recorded. This was the experiment. So from the standpoint of the subject, it's an instantaneous decision. He thought of blue and pressed blue. But the EEG scan showed mind activity. The brain showed so much of activity 550 milliseconds before the decision was made. A flurry of brain activity is there. So then the conclusion was that means you are led to a particular decision by unseen forces, by your past sanskars, by your memories, They quickly replay in your mind sort of and lead you to a particular decision, but you thought it was instantaneous. There's no free will. No, see, that's why then what you should do ideally is you must think you have a free will, because otherwise you won't make the right decisions of your life. If you think, well, I'm only led to a decision, so let me leave it to somebody else. I don't make the choices of my life. Then actually you won't do anything. So Vivekananda suggested this. Assume you have a free will, but understand your will is limited. Arthur Schopenhauer said this, he said, you can do what you will, but you cannot will what you will. Your will is bound. So understand this, that my so-called free will is bound at present. I can make it progressively free through spiritual discipline, through yoga, through meditation. But just now it is bound, but whatever I have of that free will, I will use it in the proper direction. You should use it like that. That is why then Vivekananda said, think you are the maker of your destiny. It's not in somebody's hands. Are you getting what I'm saying? Or going over that?
Theoretically, I understand everything.
I'll give you a video.
Conviction, the difference is.
Yeah.
I understand, but you're not
See, all of us want self-knowledge. Why is it not happening? We all want self-knowledge, isn't it? That's why we are here. We are here for years maybe. But why is it not happening? If free will was the truth, somewhere our own mind compromises on our so-called decisions. Our unconscious may be unprepared. Our subconscious may be unprepared. See, please, if you are interested in this subject, watch the video Determinism and Free Will given at IIT Delhi. You will have to put Determinism and Free Will Divyanandaprana. You will get the video on YouTube. Watch that. There's a total discussion on this with those IITians. But the whole point is this, that what Bhagwan has said about these things is the ultimate you should know. Because he is seeing, you say you can know everything about the mind only when you have a foothold beyond the mind. He is giving us light from there. Am I right? Yes? Did I put it correctly? That is why you must go to the masters, always. We may do a lot of cogitation on this, a lot of thinking. It will be circular thinking, finally you will find out. Unless you have a foothold outside the mind, how will you know all the workings of the mind? I am telling you what Bhagwan is to the modern world, we cannot imagine. And this applies to every realized mind, I would say. A Ramakrishna, a Vivekananda, Bhagwan, Nisargadatta Maharaj. It is out of the ordinary. And Bhagwan, though we know he is Arunachala Shiva. It's not a matter of speculation or... So, take it from the source. This is what I did, I'm telling you. My whole life, I based it, I read only the source scriptures. I don't go to the second, third generation versions of it at all. And go to the source and meditate. That is the way to knowledge. Because the unfoldment comes only from within. It is not thought born. Go to the source scriptures, go to talks with Ramana Maharishi. If you go to that, your entire brain will get rewired, Real Vedantic sanskar will come. And meditate. If you don't meditate, nothing serious is going to happen, I'm telling you. Because we must understand the place of mind in our life. Mind is, only for this transactional reality, for that, not for self-knowledge. Mind has to drop at some point, but only the purified mind will drop. Am I making sense, or is it all senseless? There are a whole lot of people in the world who will say, what is she talking about? Okay, anything else? Yes, Janet.
Thank you so much. I don't know if I have my question formulated completely, but it just has to do with the grace of Divine Mother and its relationship to realization, to the path of self-knowledge, and how, the fact that the Mother's Temple was created, all of that, what grace is needed, what grace
Yes.
is needed, and how does this path, the devotional path, or you could say the tantric path, how that perhaps does that.
Yeah.
open up these,
Yeah,
deeper things
Right.
that we find as obstacles.
yes. See, Sri Ramakrishna used to always say, without Divine Mother's grace, nothing is going to open up. That Divine Mother manifests in us as our vital energies. She manifests, she is the energy of this universe. Without her grace, truly nothing is possible. So for our vitality to really come under our will, into our hands, divine grace is required. It is only by that. Bhagwan also used to talk of grace, isn't it? You see, once somebody asked him, you did it without a guru? He said, who knows how many births I might have had a guru. And without grace and unconditional surrender, this is not possible. Unconditional surrender means putting mind at his feet. It's all only grace. All sadhana is another name for grace. But I can tell this, that you are all incredibly lucky that you are under this umbrella. It's a great thing even to think of Bhagwan, discuss the philosophy, discuss the way, see that this is possible. This is the highest, evolution of the human mind. This is a culmination of human evolution. That we have been ushered into this presence. This itself is a greatest blessing. Sri Ramakrishna only gave that example. He would say, it's like a cow being tied to the post of a tree. So that much of tether it has, that much the freedom to munch grass around the tree, it can do that. And after munching all the grass, if it moves loudly, he will tie it to some other post, maybe give it a longer tether. So God will give that kind of a tether. Some amount of free will, at least the notion of a free will he has installed in us. That is why we feel, well, now I can speak what I want to speak. You can do whatever you want to do. We have that feeling, but it's only very limited and bound. And check this out and see. What you want and the way you want it is not going to happen in your life, in any life, for the simple reason many factors are involved. But if you appeal, you move loudly, he will tie you to a longer tether. He'll give you more free will.
Can you make it happen, or does it happen to you? Can you make it happen because of your effort and everything, or does it have to happen to you? Because all the
You
exams
can make it happen.
seems to have happened to you.
Yes.
Can you say,
No. You can make it happen through your yearning, prayer, see, Bhagwan's coming to Tiruvannamalai, to Arunachala. A kind of effort it appears to be, isn't it? It started with him. He moved to the place. And later he said it is the pull of Arunachala. Sri Ramakrishna's yearning for the Divine Mother. It's his yearning. So our yearning, our prayer, our intense desire for something can be expressed to the Divine. Yes, that starting point should be there. That's why I said, assume you have a free will and exercise it in the right direction. And gradually you will understand it is bound, but it can be made progressively free. Yes? Yes.
I have a question for, so we all come to this, we get whatever, we want. Now, what is your advice for our parents and this? Because in 20 years, the new generation will take place. How do we bring that to the new generations?
How do we bring this knowledge?
Yes, for everywhere, not only this order, Ramakrishna order, like we have only one with the way. They're trying, we're trying to do. So what, as a parent, or we're a group of people here?
Right.
Right, so in 30 years, the demography will be different, everything will be different. So how do we bring this to the next world?
See, the first thing is, the parents must be imbued with these bhavs, What exactly you do at home, that is going to impact the child the most. What you prioritize, what is your value system like? Check this out and see. If the parents are, partying the whole day and night, but wanting some kind of a value system in the child, will it happen? If the parents are devoted to these kinds of ideals, they have a very high value system, there's a kind of sattva at home, then definitely it seeps into the child. Unconsciously it will become his values for the future. So this is the first most important thing, what you do at home. Secondly, create a sacred space at home. See, sacred and secular are the same, is a very high standpoint which is very far away. Most of us need sacred spaces, consecrated spaces like this for the right impact to fall on the mind. You know, these spaces create sanskars. So create it at home also. Teach your children to bow down to this, bow down to spirituality, real manifestation of spirituality, because this is the saving factor for our minds. It saves our minds. Otherwise, the mind will just go into anything. Many people treat their minds like a waste paper basket, isn't it? So teach them to bow down to this, that this is the real value of human life. This is the culmination of human evolution. If you can put this idea into them, if this is the priority in your own life, it will go into the child. Two things, right? Parents should have some kind of a spiritual focus in their lives, and they have a value system at home, and they have an atmosphere at home. So daily you can do some practice together, isn't it? One aarti with your children, if that's possible. At least until they are 12, it's possible, isn't it? Usually. Or read the Kathamrit or something at night for 5 minutes with them, 10 minutes. Keep good books in your house. It will influence their mind sometime or the other. These are small steps you can take. And pray and hope for the best, that's all. All the best to you. Because it's not easy, I know that. Many times, devotees' children are tangentially opposite. Which is very strange. Very strange. So, you never know. See, it's not that your children come through you and not from you. It's another soul in evolution. So, you don't know its past sanskars. Knowing this, we will only create the atmosphere and hope for the best. Yes. Anything else? Okay.
What's the proper way to practice self-inquiry?
The proper way to practice self-inquiry is first still the mind. Let the mind experience a kind of inner calmness, an inner serenity, tranquility. That's why I told you atmospheres are important. You can't race into an ashram for, I have just 5 minutes and sit and quickly do something and race out. Don't do that. Give some time for these things. Come into a sacred atmosphere, calm the mind deeply, and when you feel well mentally aware, then put the question, who am I truly? What is the nature of my being? Not what is the nature of my mind. What is the nature of my being? It's an existential question. Existential questions are like earthquakes, They'll shake the ground under your feet. They are mind quakes. They'll quake the mind. Existential inquiry, this is. See, today Vedanta Vichar is in universities, it is being taught as existential inquiry. You can watch that talk on Vedanta as the science of consciousness. Please watch this talk. It was given here at New York Vedanta Center. Yeah. Vedanta as the science of consciousness. How to practice existential inquiry. In that still state of mind, if you can introduce an existential question, automatically your deeper mind will respond to it. And it will come to an understanding, and it will inspire a greater effort in you, which is sadhana. Gradually, see, for the question, who am I, there is no answer. Do you think an answer will come into your mind? There is no answer. There is only stillness and being. That is the answer. So if somebody is giving you the answer, don't listen. Bhagwan used to say this, that you can never convey this through words. The I sense within us, what it denotes. What is the import of this I throb? Who can answer? You will only feel it. It's a felt experience. The greatest experiences of life you cannot, put into words. Am I right? Can you put into words the smile of or the beauty of a glorious sunset, sunrise? Or the taste of ghee? Anybody can express it? These are all called ineffable experiences. They are not available for speech or thought. They are just beautiful. That's all you can say. The best way to become still is the meditative process. We have introduced a whole lot of meditations on YouTube. If you want, you can watch that. Initially, how does the mind become quiet and still is? At some point, see, meditation requires life regulation, a sattvic life. This is the first important thing. So then when you sit down to meditate, the mind now wants to at least obey your intent, your will. And you can use some kind of a picture. See, here you have an image. Some kind of an image or picture or music or some mantra, something like that to internalize your attention. Now the mind will become calmer and keep doing that. There will come a point when you attain deep stillness. Now you introduce the inquiry. It will work like magic.
They live in two different worlds.
Yes.
It's a tremendous conflict.
Yes.
And it confuses them.
Yes.
And if it's taken to a great extent,
Yes.
they're turned off. They don't want anything to do with.
Right. I understand that, yeah.
So how to keep that balance where you can still keep them within the hold of spirituality and let them still explore the life that they need to lead in this culture and this world. So that balance is very, very difficult.
Right. I would suggest this, that actually speaking, you cannot teach anyone anything. Vivek cannot be taught. All you can do is you create the atmosphere and wait. Let the impact of the atmosphere affect the child in his own way. In his growing years, when he's young, see, till they are 10, 12, you can do these things. After that, they are completely independent. They won't anyway listen to you. So, what we can do is at that time, you keep some good books around and encourage him to think about these things. Even comics on these lives and all are available. And maybe occasionally take him to a satsang or have an aarti at home every day and make it mandatory he has to be around somewhere. You see, in Indian homes at least, that we do all that definitely. But what is happening is, because they face a totally different atmosphere in school or college, it's likely that they will feel, well, should I be doing this or that? But what you will be doing as a parent is going to influence them in a big way. And then see to the company they keep also. That's going to be a bigger influencer in their lives, at least those teenage years. And you cannot determine that company again. But if you have been successfully able to instill a value system in them, they will catch the right people in their lives. And by the time they are 20, 22, that sense of discernment comes definitely. I want to lead this kind of a life, so I want this kind of company, and they will make mature decisions. Try your best, that's all I can say. You can't say anything about, children today.
How about implanting a chip?
That would be the next level effort, This beta generation might be doing that to their children, who knows? Yes. See how you would protect a sapling? A little of that is required. Sri Ramakrishna also used to give that illustration. Yeah. Your satta will go into them. See, when Sri Ramakrishna would pray to the Divine Mother, he used to use that word, He used to say, Tomar satta amar modhe ache ma tai to tomake bhalo lage. Which means your essence is in me, O Mother. That is why I love you so much. The same applies to your children, isn't it? Something of you is in them. Now, when that you has grown spiritually, that effect will fall. If it doesn't manifest now, in another 15, 20 years, it will manifest. But the seed has to be planted. And protect that sapling to the extent possible. But don't force or impose on them, because it takes the opposite effect,
I'll share a small thing. I was taking Swami Prabhupada the Satsang from the Vedanta Society to one of the devotees' place in New Jersey. As a parent, you always had a question where my duty as a parent went. Solitude was there, and my daughter was maybe 3 years, 4 years. I asked that question, where is my duty end? Swami said, as long as you have done your duty, you should micromanage it and treat what you are as a trust and your children as a trust. Do your level.
How beautiful.
Beyond that,
you can't do anything.
and you shouldn't worry about it.
You shouldn't worry about it. Right. Right. Don't expect your child to be a carbon copy of yourself. Yeah. So do we wrap up?
I leave it to you, Mataji.
Shall we wrap up? Anything else?
Ma, I've been here for a very long time, and I have heard other people or written on Sri Bhagwan, but your presence here is real special because when you spoke about Bhagwan, you spoke about you experiencing Sri Bhagwan, and you brought the energy level so high here that we are eternally grateful for that. Thank you.
Bhagwan caught me very early in life. That's what happened. Okay, we'll conclude here. Om Shanti 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 Sri Ramanarpana.
It is no coincidence actually. Mataji came about 2 years back through Nanak Mahanti, and we didn't know anything about Mataji when she came. She came for a day trip, right, Mataji, at that time. She stayed here, she was mostly in the shrine. And then she expressed a wish that she wanted to come back to the ashram so that nobody knows, and she wanted to spend the time in the shrine only. Subsequently, this time, we are so blessed, she expressed a desire to stay in the ashram, I don't know, incognito or not to know for too many people. And we are so blessed that she herself offered to stay in the ashram, and we are eternally grateful for her. And it has been such a pleasure to speak to her and get enlightened. And we are so happy and blessed that Mataji or Swami Sarada, they readily come here and enlighten us routinely. And we hope Mataji will come back again, stay, and talk to us again. Pranam. Now we are going to chant the Upadesha Haram. It is on page 9. Karpuranaya Prapyate Param Karmanim Param Karmakaccharam Krutimaho Tado Pradanakaranam Paramashashvatam Gavinirodakam Ishvararpikam Nechayakritam Chittashodhakam Muktisadhakam Karyavamana Karyamuttanam Pujanam Japa Chintanam Kramat Jagata Ishari Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Deva Pujanam Uttamastavat Uccamandata Chittajam Japa Dhyanamuttamam Ajadaraya Srotasasamam Sarala Chintanam Viralata Param Vedavavanat Sohamityasav Bhavana Vida Pavanimata Bhavasunyasat Bhavasutsiti Bhavana Bharat Bhaktiruttama Vissale Mana Swasthata Kriya
Bhakti Yogavo Asya Nishchitam Mayurodhana Liyate Mana Jalabhakshiva Rodha Sadhanam Chittayagava Kriyavita Shagayodvayi Shakti Mulaka Laya Vinashane Ubayarodhane Layagatam Punar Bhavati Nomritam Pranavandana Lina Manasam Eka Chintana Nashamityada Nashamanaso Krishna Yogina Pratyamastikim Swastitim Yata Visharitam Chittamatmana Chittadarshanam Tattvadarsanam Manasantukim Margani Krute Naiva Manasam Margavajavat Pratayasvaham Pratyamashrita Vrattayo Mano Vidvayaham Manah Ahamayam Kuto Bhavati Chinpatah Aipatasyaham Nijavicharanam Ahaminasabha Yahamantaya Suratirasayam Paramapurnasat Idamaham Pada Vikyamanvaham Ahamilinake Yalaya Sattaya Vigrahendriya Pranadhimata Nahamekasat Yadamayasasa Sattvabhasika Chittvavetara Sattayahichi Chittayayayam Ishajivayor Veshadivida Satsvabhavato Vastu Kevalam Veshahanata Swatmadarshanam Ishadarshanam Swatmarupata Atmasansthiti Swatmadarshanam Atmanirdaya Atmanishthata Jnanavarjita Jnanaheenachet Jnanamastikim Yatumantaram Kim Swarupame Tyatmadarshane Avyaya Bhava Purnachit Sukham Bandhamukyakti Atparam Sukham Vindati Haji Vastu Daivikaha Mahamapetakam Nijavinanatham Mahavidam Tapo Ramanavakyam
Vedanta Vidyana Sichitartha Sannyasa Yoga Yataya Shuddha Sattva Te Brahma Loke Paramandakare Paramruta Parimuchanti Sarve Rajram Vipapam Paramesh Madhukam Yat Pundarikam Puramadya Satrastam Tatra Vilakram Gaganam Vishokastasmin Yatantastadupasikabhyam Yo Vedatau Swara Prokto Vedante Cha Pratishtitah Tasya Prakritilinasya Yahvarasya Maheshwara चयोरावृणीमहे गातुं यज्ञाय गातुं यज्ञपतये दैवीके स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगातु भेषजं शन्नो अस्तु द्विपदे शञ्चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सहस्रशीर्षः पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपात् स भूमिं विश्वतो वृत्वा अद्य तिष्ठद्दशाङ्कुलं पुरुष एवेदकं सर्वं यद्भूतं यच्च भव्यम् उदामृतत्वस्येषानः यदन्येनाधिरोहति एतावानस्य महिमा अथोऽध्यायातुश्च पौरुषः पादोऽस्य विश्वाभूतानि त्रिपादस्यामृतं दिवि त्रिपादोऽध्वं त्रयीपुरुषः पादोऽस्येहाभवात् पुनः ततो विश्वं व्यक्रामत् शासनाशने अधि तस्मात् विराजजायत विराजो अधिपूरुषः स धातो अत्यरिच्यत पश्चात् भूमिमथो पुरः यत्पुरुषेण हविषा देवा यज्ञमतन्वत असन्तो अस्यासीदाज्यम् ग्रीष्म इष्म शरद्रविः सप्तास्यासन् परिधयः त्रिसप्तसमिधः कृताः देवा यज्ञं तन्वानाः अबध्नन् पुरुषं पशुं तैर्यज्ञं बर्हिषि प्रोक्षन् पुरुषं जातमग्रतः तेन देवा अयजन्त साध्या ऋषयश्च ये तस्मात् यज्ञात् सर्वमुदः संवृतं वृषराज्यं पशुरस्तागश्चक्रे वायव्यान् आरण्यान् ग्राम्याश्च ये तस्मात् यज्ञात् सर्वतः ऋक्षः सामानि जग्निरे छन्दांसि जग्निरे तस्मात् यस्तस्मादजायत तस्मादश्वा अजायन्त ये केचोभयाततः गावो अजग्निरे तस्मात् जाता अजावयः यत्पुरुषं व्यजतु कथाव्यकल्पयन् मुखं किमस्य गौ बाहु का पूर्वपादा उच्येते ब्राह्मणोऽस्य मुखमासीत् बाहुराजन्यकृतः पूर्वोदस्य यद्वैश्यः अध्यानं शूद्रो अजायत चन्द्रमा मनसो जातः चक्षुर्सूर्यो अजायत मुखादिन्द्रश्चाग्निश्च प्राणाद्वायुरजायत नाभ्या आसीदन्तरिक्षं शैष्णौद्यमुत्समवर्तत पद्भ्यां भूमिर्दिशश्रोत्रात् तथा लोकान् अकल्पयन् वेदाहमेकं पुरुषं महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसस्तु पारे सर्वाणि रूपाणि चरित्यधीरः नामानि कृत्वाभिवर्तयदास्ते धाता पुरस्ताद्यमुदा जहार शक्रः प्रगित्वान् त्रिसच्चरस्रः तमेवं विद्वान् नृतः भवति नान्यः पन्था अयनाय विद्यते यज्ञेन यज्ञमयजन्त देवाः तान् धर्माणि प्रथमान्यासन् तेन कन्महिमानः सचन्ते यत्र पूर्वे साध्याः सन्ति देवाः अभ्यसम्भूतः पृथिव्यैरसाच्च विश्वकर्मणः समवर्तताधि तस्य त्वष्टाभिधृतरूपमेषि तत्पुरुषस्य विश्वमाजानमग्रे वेदाहमेतं पुरुषं महान्तम् आदित्यवर्णं तमसः परस्तात् तमेवं विद्वानमृतः भवति नान्यः पन्था विद्यते जनाय प्रजापतिश्चरति गर्भे नन्तः जायमानो बहुधा विजायते तस्य धीराः परिजानन्ति योनिं मरीचीनां पदमिच्छन्ति वेधसः यो देवेभ्यः तपति यो देवानां पुरोहितः पूर्वो यो देवेभ्यो जातः नमो रुचाय ब्राह्मणे रुचं ब्राह्मं जनयन्तः देवा अग्रे तदब्रुवन् यस्थैवं ब्राह्मणो विद्यात् तस्य देवा असन्वशये ग्रीश्चते लक्ष्मीश्च पत्न्यो अहोरात्रे पार्श्वे नक्षत्राणि रूपम् अश्विनौ व्याप्तम् इष्टं मनिषाणम् अमुं मनिषाणम् सर्वं मनिषाणम् तच्चयोरावृणीमहे दातुं यज्ञाय दातुं यज्ञपतये दैवी स्वस्तिरस्तु नः स्वस्तिर्मानुषेभ्यः ऊर्ध्वं जिगाधेशचं शं नो अस्मद्विपदे शं चतुष्पदे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः जातवेदसे सुनवासो ममराति यतो निदहातिवेदः सनत्पर्षकति दुर्गाणि विश्वानादेर्वसिन्धुं दुरिताध्यग्निः कामग्निवर्णां तपसा ज्वलन्तीं वैरोचनीं कर्मफलेषु शुष्टाम् दुर्गां देवीं शरणमहं प्रपद्ये सुरतसिंहसे नमः अग्ने त्वं पारयानव्यो अस्मान् स्वस्तिभिरति दुर्गाणि विश्वाः पूश्च पृथ्वी बहुलान पूर्वी भवात् लोकाय तनयाय शय्योः विश्वानि नो दुर्गः जातवेदः सिन्धुं न नावादुरितादिपरशि अग्ने अत्रिवन्मनसा गृणानो अस्माकं बोध्यमिता तनूनाम् वृधनाचितकं सहमानमुग्रमग्निकं मवेम परमात्सनस्थात् सनः पश्यति दुर्गाणि विश्वाक्षामद्देवो अधिदुरितादग्निः रत्नोशिखमेभ्यो अध्वरेषु सनाश्च होत्रानभ्यश्च सस्नि स्वाञ्चाग्नि सर्वं विप्रयस्वास्मभ्यं च सौभगमाय यस्रम् गोभिर्जुष्टमयुजो निषिक्तं तदेन्द्र विष्णोरसञ्चरेम नाकस्य पृष्ठमभिसंवसानो वैष्णवीर्लोकैरमादयन्ताम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः